Welcome back to the Goonie Tunes podcast.
Hello.
First off, we want to address the elephant in the room and say sorry for how long it's been taking. Me and Tony have the last 2-3 months have been very busy and our schedules have been very off. So we just want to start off and say sorry. And this is our second time actually saying this because we recorded a couple days ago and our audio got corrupted. So here we are again.
Technical difficulties. You love them.
They're so fun. So fun. But one thing we kind of wanted to start and address with everyone is what we kind of plan on doing with this podcast. And the reason why we started it. Me and Tony kind of realized that our friendship with all of our friends is solely based off just talking. Don't get me wrong, we'll hang out, we'll play games, we'll go out to clubs, but one thing we always tend to do is just talk. And it's a good way to just see how everyone's doing. And almost using this as like a time capsule because we can see if our opinions are changed, if our thoughts are changed, and what's new in the world.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's really kind of just a time capsule and more like insight to what my brain kind of thinks at 21 years old. It'd be cool to kind of go back. And really for me, I kind of want to see how you can progress with our podcasting capabilities, see how we suck at it at first and just like talking in general and see if we can, improve on those capabilities or even, listening capabilities. I don't know what it kind of is podcasting, if it's kind of more listening or speaking, but,
Because we still are new. We still are new to this. We're still trying to figure it out. It takes a lot to set up a podcast, especially with a low budget that me and Tony have. We're scraping to make it work, but we're doing it. And we kind of want to just talk about what we're going to plan on doing with this. So basically, it's going to be me and Tony talking, like always. You guys love hearing our voice so much.
I hate it.
Oh, I hate listening to my voice too. But the whole reason why this is called Goonie Tunes is for the fact that our friend group is called the Goons. We call ourselves the Goons because we just are. We're goofy motherfuckers. But anyway, the thing is, it's going to be me and Tony talking, and occasionally, once a week, once every other week, we want to implement our friends. We're just one friend a week. So you're not only just listening to us, you're listening to our friends, and you're hearing their side of the story without actually being there with them, and you can understand their story a little bit more. So it's just a cool, interesting idea. And to keep it non-topic based, we want to just talk about whatever. Sports, games, TV, how our life's going, how our day's going, like everything. And with our friends, it's just going to be a fun way to do it because at the end of the day, me and Tony just want to have fun.
That's all we want to do.
That's all we want to do. And this isn't our first time doing this, believe it or not. Like, we did this about 2 years ago in a Discord with our friends, and it failed horribly. It went bad. We had like 6-7 of us in a Discord call, and about 3 of them fell asleep, and the conversation went nowhere.
Yeah, myself included.
That's really boring. It went nowhere. It was about 45 minutes of us just talking about dumb bullshit the whole time. But it was funny. But after that, we kind of realized that we should redo it again. And me and Tony had thought about it for months, and then we finally just executed it and did it. So
yeah. There's kind of a balance you need to have in a podcast where it needs to be kind of just free flowing and you need to be able to have a conversation, but at the same time it needs a little bit of structure. And us definitely had no structure the first time that we tried that podcast. So.
Not at all. It was let's get in a Discord call and try this.
Yeah.
There was no planning at all. At all. Unlike how we are now, where me and Tony at least think about what we're going to talk about. Do you have like a favorite podcast out there? I know. Me personally, I do know and everything, but I kind of let the viewers know how you're kind of.
I love Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the Lord and Savior of this generation, possibly. Who knows? I think he's kind of cultivated one of, if not one of the best, just one of the most popular podcasts, and it kind of has given him this capability to have Mark Zuckerberg on, Elon Musk,
crazy
all these
people.
Yeah,
crazy.
major celebrities that are low time podcasts, and even some of the highest podcasts will just never get those celebrities because they're just they don't have the repertoire or whatever of Joe Rogan. So I think he kind of has this luxurious ability to interview these people, and it's an amazing podcast to kind of pick their brains.
I don't know if because I've seen him on clips on everyone's podcast, but does Neil deGrasse have a podcast?
I think so.
Because
yeah.
I'm very interested in that, man.
Yeah, I
Not
think
like that,
it's-
but
I think pause. I think it's
Reserve.
Star Talk or something.
Okay.
He has. I know he's done. I mean, thousands of different podcasts, but I'm also pretty sure he has his own. Yeah.
I was watching this thing today, and he broke down scientifically how much Thor's hammer weighs. And I guess he went down to the story. He goes, "No one could tell me how it was, and only that you were only if you were worthy you could lift a hammer." But I didn't believe that, and so he went like through the science of it, and he goes like, "Oh, Mjolnir is built from a dying star," and he goes, "I'm an astrophysicist. I work with that and stuff like that." And so he did the math, and I guess like he tweeted out, Thor's hammer is equivalent to like 300 billion elephants. Is like the actual weight of the hammer.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh my god.
Damn.
The man broke science into a fiction character.
Thor's strong, bro.
Thor's very strong. Very strong.
Okay. Why do you think people like listening to podcasts? / why do you like listening to podcasts yourself? Like, what is there to gain from it?
I'll kind of start with me first. It's just, it's fun to hear, like I mentioned earlier, it's fun to listen to other people's stories and hear what they're doing in their daily lives. And it's not just about me and stuff like that. Hearing, like, we talked about this in the last failed podcast, Impulsive and stuff like that. It's 3 guys with all different backstories, just having fun, talking about whatever they want with a guest at the same time.
Yeah.
They're just there having a good time, and hearing someone else having a good time and just talk, I like, and it definitely appeals to me, and I definitely feel like that's why other people are listening, because they like to hear stories. They like to see what people are doing in their daily lives.
Do you think it's kind of like, I don't know, I think personally for me it feels like there was kind of like a gap in the sense of like long form media. You know, there really wasn't like hours or 2-hour long streams or anything you could really, I'm not going to watch a 2-hour long YouTube video sitting at my desk, but for like listening in the car ride or working out, there was really no other thing you could do besides listening to music. So I think podcasts kind of filled this void where you could listen to people have an actual conversation for like hours at a time. And especially like comparing to how most media would be like these 5-minute interviews with people or, on the news, you don't really get to grasp people's like brains or like how they work at all in 5 minutes. So having a 2-hour long podcast where you can really like delve into their mind, you get to have much more insight on what they think and feel.
It's just not like a news article. You're not being like flooded with information and stuff like that. You're hearing about the real world, about someone's eyes in the real world. Like you're seeing like what they're doing, and it's such a nice change of pace from just listening to music and stuff like that, and just like relaxing. And it's definitely nice, and I can definitely see why they have gone up so much, especially over these last few years, because it's just so interesting.
Yeah, I remember when Joe Rogan was talking about like when it was very lucrative, or there weren't a lot of podcasts out. He's like, yeah, definitely start one. And now I heard him on a recent episode say like, if someone asked me if I should start a podcast today, everybody has a podcast. It's not exactly the same kind of format. So, I mean, at least that definitely proves that if you're good at podcasting, like, you'll rise to the top. But yeah, it's just not such a like lucrative thing anymore.
And there's
so many of them
about everything now.
Yeah.
You could search koalas in the desert, and there's probably someone talking about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how many people are doing it now, and it's almost just like a Google search for podcasts now. You can just Google search anything and someone's talking about it, and it's interesting.
Okay, another question I have. What do you think makes a good podcaster? Do you think it's more like being able to speak very well and enunciate and kind of get your ideas across, or do you think it's more the converse, like listening to somebody and being able to like counter them on their thoughts and their theories?
I feel like it's definitely based around the person, and if you're able to get your words across how you want to. It's almost like a leader. If you can use your words in a good way to where someone's listening, someone's bound to listen. Someone's bound to follow and hear what you say, and then eventually you develop an audience and stuff like that, and then your quality gets better, and you realize you're not doing it for the fans, you're just doing it, and people are following because you don't make it into like a job, so to say. You're just talking with a little black mic right in front of you, and people are listening, and it's almost like television, but it's not live, obviously, but you're just doing it, and people are listening every week.
Yes, but there's also a part of podcasting that's like you have to, a lot of them are interviews or, kind of just picking someone else's brain. So, I mean, I guess, do you think asking good questions is vital to podcasting? Like, does that really matter, or is it kind of like, if you have a really cool guest on, that's really what, or is it kind of like all this?
It's kind of like both and everything. Like, if you're going to do, say, like what me and you were doing, we're just talking, we're just indulging each other's, like, words that we have to say, and we're just flowing and stuff like that. And especially if you're going to have someone on, you have to do your research. You have to make sure, like, you can ask them questions that they're comfortable with, the questions that they probably haven't asked yet. Just like, I know Impulsive, for example, like I talked about, a couple of their questions, some people are like, oh, I haven't heard that, especially Hot Ones. The guy who, it's not even a podcast, I say, it's just an interview, but they go and find questions that they haven't been asked and everything, and they're doing their research. So you're hearing a different story this time. You're not hearing the same thing that you've heard from a famous person or someone else 15 different times. Yeah. So it definitely is the fact that if they're able to do that, it definitely becomes more successful.
Yeah. Sean Evans is like one of the best interviewers, I think, in the world. Like the way he structures and like formulates in sentences and like everything about it. He just asks the best questions ever, and I find that funny because I think Joe Rogan actually is one of the dumbest podcast. Like, not that he's dumb or anything. He gets his ideas across clearly, but like he's a dude, bro. He's kind of like,
that man is a chotch.
Like, come on, man. Like, it's yeah.
But it's just so entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, because there's people like us who are almost exactly like that. And so,
are you comparing yourself to Joe Rogan?
I'm not comparing myself to Joe Rogan, but his energy, I know we are very equivalent and stuff. So I just be like, yeah, man, like, cool.
To an extent. I think I'm humble, okay? I strive to one day be like Mr. Joe Rogan. Mr. Joe Rogan. Right?
Start off with Fear Factor first?
Hell no. I'm going to skip that part of his fucking history. That was he got
that was skinny boy Joe Rogan. That wasn't buff boy.
I think
Joe
he got
Rogan.
a lot of his money probably from that. I mean, I don't know. He probably makes a shit ton now, but like his start definitely came from Fear Factor, and I think I'd rather go a different route than having to do that. I mean, God bless it.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I would just hope one day I have qualities that Joe Rogan has now when I'm an adult man. Yeah. Who's like, do you have a role model in your life?
It's funny you asked me this, actually. I did at first. I'm going to be cliche. I'm going to say my dad and everything, because he has always been like a hard rock, and he's always been someone I can like just look up to and be like, I want to be like him because he's made me the person I am today. But then I saw, he still is, but then I saw this thing from Matthew McConaughey, and I've kind of been using that a lot recently. And he basically said when he was 15, someone came up to him and asked, like, who is your hero? And he goes, that's tough. Like, let me think about it. And the person came back a year later and was like, hey, who is your hero? And he goes, it's me in 10 years. And he lived his life. 10 years came by. That exact same person came and asked, are you your hero yet? And he goes, no, not at all. It's me at 35. And then he basically broke it down. He goes, if I always am my hero 10 years later, then I have someone with me and I always have someone to look forward to. Because your hero could go away at any point and they could still leave a mark on you. But if you have someone to look forward to, you're always there. And if you say, I hit that 10 years and I say myself my hero, I basically gave up and I stop. Because I'm like, oh, I am where I want to be. If you always have something forward, like that 10 years, you always have a person to look to. So I've been kind of using that. I'm like, it's going to be me in the next 5, because I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. No one knows what they're going to do, especially with our age and with what we're doing.
Yep. Everybody lives with uncertainty. Nothing's ever promised to anybody. But that's kind of interesting. You kind of take a role model. You take a more like optimistic
It's
point of view.
yeah. It's just if I want to be what I see as a hero, I want to be the best version of myself, and I might not ever reach that, but I know I'm gonna die trying for it,
Yeah.
and I only know that's gonna make me hungrier and make me want to do more.
Ambition.
So, to give you the cliche answer, it's my dad by all means.
Mm.
My dad is my rock and everything, but me personally, it's myself.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Role models are a weird one. It's like,
And it's a hard one. It's like, who do you love?
yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, you can look at it in like so many different ways. Who do you love? Like, who influenced you the
Yeah.
most? Like, who do you look up to? Like, there's a lot of different ways to kind of
Yeah.
interpret it.
It used to be David Beckham. If you know me, my soccer number is 24, and David Beckham's is 23 because I thought I was his number one fan. And if you do the math, 23 plus 1 is voila, 24.
You consciously made that decision.
I consciously made that decision at 5 years old. Yes, okay. Don't judge. But speaking about soccer, the World Cup, it's been crazy. It's been crazy stupid. It's been gut wrenching, and I can officially say
I want to cry.
I cried when Portugal lost.
Oh, you did cry.
It was the saddest thing seeing my GOAT, Ronaldo, walking into the locker room bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
There was nothing harder than seeing that, especially because he didn't play the full game.
Especially when you have as ugly as a cry as he.
Stop.
I thought
Man's
he-
37. Let him cry
I
ugly.
thought okay, just to like lighten it up a bit, but like, dude, he looked like he was laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
The way he's like, okay, but it was sad.
it
I
was.
do you think it was a smart choice keeping him out? I know they didn't they do it because he was like acting up in one of the games previously?
He's been going through a roller coaster recently through everything. He's been fired from his team because he was open during an interview about the club and what he didn't like about it, and so they sacked him for it. And with Portugal, it's not been the same thing. He hasn't said anything. He's not going to say anything obviously bad about his country, but with everything going on, it's just kind of been tough for him. And so the game before, the guy that they subbed on scored a hat trick. So they're obviously going to play that dude. They're not going to start him as bench if he's on a hot streak. So he just came late into the game, and so it could have played an effect in it because you never know. Ronaldo could have done something in that game that could have changed that.
Yeah.
But now I am rooting for my all-time favorite player, Modric. And he plays Messi next. And that's a hard game to fucking watch because it's the team I want to watch. But it's also the next GOAT in my life that could be out. And that could be sad to see.
The champion for short kings. I love Modric.
We got the final four. We got Croatia versus Argentina and Morocco versus France. What I want is I want to see Croatia versus Morocco. That's the final I want to see. Or a rematch with Croatia and France. Because that would be huge to see again. So
Wait, so what team are you leaving out of it? Who do you not want to win no matter what?
Argentina.
Oh, yeah.
Sad to say. It's only because Ronaldo's my GOAT.
Yeah.
And all the Messi haters will be like, he made it to the final, Ronaldo didn't. And even though technically Messi did make it further already, it's the fact of just like, we'll never hear the end of it.
Argentina's playing
Croatia.
Okay, so I think if that game goes to PKs, Croatia's probably winning.
Yeah, because they're 6-0 right now on penalties in the last two World Cups.
Yeah, and their goalkeeper,
Is
I forgot his name. but
a wall.
He looks super young, and for being how young he looks or how old or young he is, like, dude's insane.
And not Argentina, but Croatia's defense is like a wall right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched their last game against Brazil,
Looks smooth.
but they literally shut them down the whole game until extra time.
That is Brazil. you know. But at the same time, you're talking about Messi, dude.
Yeah, that's why I'm scared about it.
Yeah.
I guess technically Croatia's the underdogs right now.
Mhm.
They have a less percentage of winning. But they
Yes.
also did against Brazil. Brazil had a way higher chance, but this
Yeah.
one's kind of more 50-50 now.
But I would also argue this is probably the closest it's ever been. Like,
Yeah.
this is probably the best chance they've ever had at beating Argentina. At
Well,
least, like,
there was a post today by, I don't know if you follow 433, but it's like
No.
the main soccer like news thing with updates,
Mm.
and they post the last like meetups of Croatia versus Argentina,
Mhm.
and Croatia won 3-1 last time against them. I'm pretty sure
In
it
the
was
World
in the
Cup?
World. I'm pretty sure it was in the World Cup.
What?
And then like they had a friendly game, and I think Argentina won 1-0, and then it was like 2-2. So they have a history of close games. So this game is going to be just like that as well. So
Interesting.
Very interesting, and I wish I was able to watch it, but because it's all the way in the Middle East and we're in California during the wintertime, games are at 7 in the morning, and that's tough for me. So
Yeah. It's not fun.
it's definitely weird. I miss it being back in the summer, and it will go
Yes.
back. And just
I
blame
will
COVID.
say though, when I do have a day off, like with the World Cup, it is nice to have something to like look forward to in the morning.
Exactly.
If I can if I have the day off, if I'm working, obviously you just like don't get to watch it.
It's
at
just
all.
tough, especially because I remember when the World Cup kicked off and I was in Tahoe, and one of my boys was like, "Hey, we're getting up early. We're watching this game," and we were up till like 4 in the morning, like drinking, having a good night, and then we realized like, fuck, we got to be up at like 6:30 for the game.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And that's been like me this in majority of this World Cup. I'm like, I'm going to like wake up and watch the game because I want to. And it's just so early. I'm just like, you know what? I'll just rewatch it later. But then I already hear about it. I'm like, damn.
Missed opportunity, bro.
I missed this whole World Cup opportunity.
You could have fixed your sleep schedule.
Especially at the
for
USA
World Cup.
games. All the USA games were in the morning.
Yeah.
They were so
I don't
early.
think you would have wanted to watch the Netherlands game.
Nope.
That was.
Nope.
rough.
I watched it at the TV at my work, and it was very depressing.
Yeah. I watched the highlights on YouTube, and I like did dislike videos.
We had the chances. But it is what it is. We'll be hosting the next World Cup in 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and we're still young, so we're bound to develop and be stronger.
Wait, yeah, aren't they doing like the triple World Cup hosting? It's gonna be like
So it's gonna be North America. So it's
Yeah.
basically Mexico, United States, Canada.
yeah, and
Is what it's gonna be.
But the United States has like 13 of the 18 cities.
They most of them. I think
Yeah.
the Levi's Stadium where the Niners play. There's like
Yeah,
12
San
games.
Francisco.
There's like 12 games that's gonna
Let's go.
go on. So I'm buying
Dude.
every ticket to that. I don't care the
Holy
price.
shit. That's gonna
I'm
be
planning. Well, I'm hoping somewhere in 2026 I have the money for that.
Dude, what if it's a shit show?
It could be a shit show, but I went to the World Cup,
Yeah, true.
so that's all that really matters.
Is that as far as you're going, San Francisco?
It depends on the game.
Yeah. Well,
it
yeah. If it gets to
depends
like
on
the
the game.
final, if we can get tickets to a final,
yeah.
and like, because they have to have the final in the United States. Imagine it's like in fucking Mexico. That would be- yeah. No, dude. But would they rather do it in New York or? I mean.
A lot of the games are gonna kind of be West Coast, especially during summertime. Only for the fact of weather conditions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be basically like southwest kind of area is where most of the World Cup games are gonna happen, only because the weather's more clear. So, yeah.
That's gonna be really depressing if like the United States gets kicked out early.
It's how it is. It's the heartbreak. Look at Qatar.
Dude, they need to
Qatar
close their
didn't
ass
even
off.
score a goal. They got 0 points at their own home, and it's same thing for Brazil that happened before that. They got shut out 7-1 against Germany in their home. Anything that happens to us, Mexico, or Canada, it's gonna be a heartbreak no matter what, because we're home, and that's just how it is.
Damn, that's a weird one. Cause like, what if Mexico makes it to the final, but it's gonna be played in America? Like, do you think they'd make that decision? Be like, nah,
They
let's
would
just switch
definitely
it.
keep it out of Mexico, only for the fact of
Gang violence.
I guess if like Qatar made it, it's technically home field advantage for the final. But I'm pretty sure they would have it in the United States no matter what, just for the fact of no one gets really home. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy. I'm beyond excited for it, and I've been talking about it since I heard that it was gonna be in technically North America like 3 years ago, like just when this World Cup was announced.
Yeah.
So I've been more than anxious and like ready for it now, but at that time I'm gonna be 25, 26 years old, so it's gonna be rough.
What year is it supposed to?
It's gonna be 2026, so we'll be 25 basically.
Old ass motherfucker.
Old. Which is crazy. It's crazy how fast time's flying. It still feels like I'm 16, which is bad. We turned 22 this month. It is our month. It is our month.
Don't.
It is our
Amazing.
birthdays. It is Christmas. So there's nothing to be sad about.
That's not true.
That is definitely not true. But anyway, it is.
In case there's a war going on. Like, come on, bro.
In my head or in general?
Yes.
Getting deep. But are you excited to like I
Go
mean,
to
it's
war?
not totally. I guess it's not really an exciting number, but are you excited to turn 22? Like, do you have any big plans at all?
Dude, I don't. Every time for my birthday, it's always kind of like family oriented because I mean, I am born on Christmas, and that's really, none of the homies are really gonna go out on Christmas to hang out, and plus, nothing's open.
Yep.
So I kind of need to, if I want to do anything, I need to plan it. But so many of our homies, you included, have a birthday around here. I always kind of just like celebrated with them, or like there's always been enough partying like around this. Not even to mention New Year's, which is only like a week later. So I kind of like get my fix of partying, hanging out, and I don't really need gifts. I'm fine. I don't like to be showered in gifts. I got enough hugs when I was little. I'm chilling. I got gifts on Christmas. I got gifts on my birthday, which is the exact same day, but like.
But no, I definitely feel that, especially with it being closer to like Christmas and New Year's. Our birthdays are rough because usually people are taking vacations, and that's why
That's true.
for my birthday, even when like I turned 21, like I never did anything at all for my birthday. It's only for the fact that like no one was here. It's like, oh, let's throw a party with like 6 people,
Yeah.
and so I just never did that.
Do you think birthdays are dying, dude? Like in our generation?
With our age,
really
yes. With our age,
Well-
birthdays don't mean nothing.
Okay, so it's not our generation then. Well, no, I feel like.
I feel like me personally, it's 10, 16, 18, 21, and then it's like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like there's nothing really special after that.
It's true.
So, and it sucks, especially for us, because we're like older in our friend group. So like when we turned 21, I know for me, I was with my ex at the time and a friend, and they weren't 21. So it's like I can't go out with them, and I bought a drink for myself. It's like I want to be partying with everyone. And now that we're turning 22, I think this is the year I want to do something. Is because now that everyone's 21, we can finally go do something. So
You know
like
what it's
this will
like?
be my big year.
22 is like, no longer being the freshman. That's what it feels like when you go to the bars. Because when you turn 21, you're in the bars. It's so apparent.
You're the rookie.
Yeah. Well, if you're not if you haven't had a fake ID and been going for a couple years, you're gonna.
Who has
kind of like a nerve-wracking experience. What?
I said, who's had fake IDs?
Yeah. But if you like, you know what I'm saying? If you go for your first time for your 21, or it's only like a handful of times you've been, it will be very apparent to everyone in there that it's you're green, bro. You have not been in there very much.
It's weird though, because even though we still are rookies, I only at the club is when I get ID'd. But like when I go to buy like alcohol, I don't get ID'd at all, and that could just be because I'm born in a very small town, and so they've seen me since I was like in 6th grade in this town.
So you go to the same place every time?
Not the same place, but like
So that
the
doesn't
places
matter.
around that sell alcohol. I'm a parent too, so they have all seen me grow since I was little.
I think it just means you look old, bro.
I don't know. I guess I did start growing the facial hair out for a couple years now, and it
That's
turned me
funny.
into more Italian.
I think that means we don't look anything like each other because I always get ID.
I don't look like my ID at all, though. My ID is like
Yeah.
15-year-old Kaysen,
Yeah, no, me too.
who is, I think I was marked down like 5'5", like 130 on my ID, and I'm like 5'10", 155 now, and with more facial hair.
Dude, mine is still vertical.
Oh yeah, you got the vertical ID.
Every time they see
you
it,
got
they're
the
like,
rookie idea.
Who is this guy?
A lot of people look at mine, especially at the clubs, because of being 21 and somewhat looking older, but not really. They still think it's fake because a lot of the fakes are horizontal,
Really?
not vertical.
Yeah.
So they always double check mine and always scan. And I mean, they're going to scan this a place, but they like scan it twice just to make sure. I'm just like, I'm of age, trust me. 2000 baby, like hello.
You ready for the best segue ever?
Yes.
Do you think shrooms should be legal?
Yes. Not for the fact that they're fun, but the fact that there's benefits to them. That what is it? Parkinson's, I believe, is what I saw in the video. It could have been something else. But people who were microdosing on mushrooms were able to get like the function is it, or carpal tunnel as well. The people who are like struggling to move their bones and stuff like this, and
Artery functions
move their like ligaments, so to say.
for shrooms?
Yeah,
Really?
like there was someone who, or cerebral palsy.
Sure, it wasn't like PTSD.
No, it's one of those. It's on the tip of my tongue. I could have said it already, but it was basically this old man who had a lot of trouble like moving his arms up, opening his hand out of a ball, closing his hand, and he microdosed, and they left him in the room for like 10 minutes just on himself until they kicked in. The man started standing up and walking and like grabbing shit on the counters. Like, the man was fully functional.
The Sims
And,
character got
like, and he
function.
wasn't tripping. He was just microdosing, so it just calmed him down, but it made him feel good. But the man just stood up and walked.
What happened? Did you know what happened when he came off of him?
I know he
go back to
slowly
it?
eased back to it and stuff like that, but
Damn.
it helped him.
Dude, I would be like, give me the whole bag.
Yeah.
Give me the whole bag. Shove it in my
But
mouth.
I
bitch.
definitely think it's still going to be a couple of years till it's, because I think that will make marijuana federally legal soon because of what it's been doing, especially for the economy.
Yeah.
But once that is federally legal, they're going to look into other drugs and see if there's benefits.
Right.
And then I think shrooms will kind of go down the path that marijuana did. They'll start in a couple states being legal.
And then
they'll
never be
see-
legalized.
Huh?
Dude, because marijuana is still not legalized yet across the nation.
Yes, I know.
And-
but look how long it took to get legal.
Dude,
It's going to be the same boat.
California in like the Weed Empire app game is like level fucking 250.
Talk about the hemp-
Texas
hemp
hasn't even
empire.
signed up yet, bro. Like, we have the operation going. Why? I just don't understand it. I get it's all a political game and like you know,
Because it's still under that fact of a gateway drug.
whatever, bro.
It's for those people.
I think we just need to do more
losers
research.
who haven't smoked marijuana.
More
yet.
research has to be done on it, and I don't
Yes.
think. I mean, is there more? I see more and more studies, but like, who the fuck knows what you can believe
There's
nowadays?
always a plus and a negative to everything, and especially that's going to be towards drugs.
But like, the solution to that is always just
Try it.
legalize it and leave it up for like everyone to just make their own decision. If I can buy a bottle of Jack Daniels and drink the whole thing and kill myself tonight because I alcohol poison myself, then I should be allowed to fucking take some trippy mushrooms.
Do you? That's a good way to think about that, though.
Yeah, like come on, bro. You can kill yourself with a whole bottle of alcohol tonight for like fucking $13.50, bro. If you get the cheap kind, it's not that hard, and you can do it. That freedom is up to you. But for some reason, because prohibition didn't happen with no fucking mushrooms, or for some reason, mushrooms are just not the good. There's just like a stigma behind it, and I don't.
Do you?
Neither me nor you have the answer.
Once marijuana, eventually, knock on wood, for me.
Yeah.
When when marijuana becomes federally legal, do you think it's gonna get shittier?
What do you mean by shittier?
Because I can see it eventually going federal to where you could like buy it at gas stations or Walmart.
Yeah, like
it's
weed
gonna
ciggies.
like on the count, like the smoke counter in
Yeah.
Walmart
Yeah.
behind the counter. I feel like it's just gonna be so shit weed,
Mm.
and especially being from California, that's where a lot of high premium cannabis is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if it ever did go federally, it's just gonna be everywhere now. That it's just gonna be flooded
Yeah. So
and
that
eventually just becoming so garbage.
that entirely depends on how they legalize it, right?
True.
If they legalize it across the board, I know that's actually not the best thing for like, or maybe it is. I don't know. It depends on how they legalize it. However, like they legalize it for the private business is how it's gonna affect the weed. If they allow private institutions to create their own weed and be able to produce it, and really become experts on weed, then yeah. But like everything in this fucking world, if the government just puts an overarching arm around the entire industry and says, no, we're gonna make the weed, we're gonna have fucking little brown deer shit nugs that everyone gonna smoke. Wacky tobacco, that's trash.
I think everyone knows what side we're on when it comes to marijuana.
You think? Take an educated guess.
I think they've all come to the assumption that we are marijuana positive.
If they're smart. Maybe.
I think.
Who knows, bro?
But it definitely would get shittier, I feel like, if it did become federally, only because it will just be in high surplus of everywhere.
Well, yeah, it depends on like what the demand is.
And people
everyone
are just going to
start
get
smoking?
lazy.
I don't know, bro, because if it's legalized, it's not like people are going to switch tomorrow. Well, maybe.
Well, I mean, you could still get marijuana in those states that it's not legal for medicinal, like medical reasons and stuff like that. But other than that, you can't like go to a dispensary and buy marijuana like the luxuries of California.
Recreational stuff. It's all the recreational stuff.
Yeah.
Because maybe, okay, at least there's a stigma with, like, cigarettes. Like, there's smoke breaks in work because you fucking get the head rush and you can, like, do mundane, little simple tasks a little faster because you got the fucking nice chemicals in your brain. With weed, like, you and I both know there are some individuals that, like, if they smoke weed, they are not going to do that job to the best of their fucking ability anymore. They become
straight goofballs.
Yeah. So, obviously, like, maybe that's the fear. That if you make it recreational and everyone can just kind of buy these weed and it's just high all the time, like, society kind of... I'm not going to say weed digresses you at all, because there's definitely many ways where it feels like it's a benefit and it can make you think in more outside-the-box ways, be more creative, if you will. I wouldn't exactly say it. I've watched a lot of Andrew Huberman.
It's definitely, like, a person-based as well, because, like, for me... Personally, it's like smoking weed throughout the day is a no-no for me because I still like to function and like I still function off marijuana, but it's the fact of like I just like to be sober throughout the day and at night is when I'll kind of do it. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do as well. But some people are at that extent where like there's no point then if I'm just gonna wait to the end of the night.
Yeah, it's just like but
some people do act goofy off it, and the people who do it during the day who act like that definitely like make it harder.
Yes, but it all comes back to if somebody wants to do that at the end of the night, like why should the government prohibit them from being able to do that, right? It's simply a plant on this world that's smokable, ingestible, and it's not allowed to be used within these walls for an unknown reason. That, you know, I thought when I was little that if you smoked marijuana, you would implode and
you go right into meth.
Yeah, the devil would fucking take you down.
And there's some people that do that, but
do
you
meth
realize
after
marijuana,
yeah,
they'll definitely be like, oh, I want more. There's 100% those people down the road, and we've seen them. We know some people who have done that.
They're dead.
But I feel like at the extent once you have and at least smoked marijuana, you realize that like it can definitely go both ways of being a gateway, but also not at all.
It just depends on the person.
It just makes you hungry, man. You just want to eat snacks
and watch movies. Dude, I know some people that just like they do it because they got stomach problems. Yeah. They're inflamed. I don't know.
People who are depressed. People who just need to who need to clear their head a little bit, and that's definitely me.
The bottom line is
clear your head.
Both THC and CBD do have beneficial properties, but it's not for everybody.
True.
At the end of the day, though, it shouldn't be fucking prohibited because it could help some people out there. And I would rather it be available for everyone to just try and see if you could benefit from it than block anybody from being able to benefit from it at all in the hopes of prohibiting who the fuck knows what.
And for all of our under 21s, do not do drugs.
Yeah.
We do not.
Yeah.
We're not saying this like, oh, go smoke marijuana and see what we're talking about.
No.
No, like if you are curious and you wanted to try it.
And you're of age.
And you are of age, of course, 21 in California. Do it responsibly. And then you can kind of see what we're kind of talking about. Because some people might not understand where we're coming from is because we have experience and we have noticed it.
The Andrew Huberman podcast actually says you shouldn't start till you're like after 25 if you want to get technical. Yeah. Because your frontal lobe doesn't stop developing until you're 25. And marijuana has been known to, for a lack of better words, scramble some wires in the front of your brain.
I have some wires unplugged, but I don't think that's from marijuana. Hey, I think that's from me watching SpongeBob.
Dude, SpongeBob connected many fucking wires for me. I don't know.
He taught me how to spell fun. That's it.
Dude,
or the
I'm
Sea
trying
Bear Circle.
To sing the fun song in my head and I can't.
F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me.
I was thinking AGLET. Don't forget. I was like, that's not how you spell
that
fun.
Right there is gonna be my fucking preview. That's gonna be the short right there.
I was wondering,
singing SpongeBob.
My fucking.
But definitely do at your own risk and be smart with it and make good choices.
Yeah, man. It's America, god damn it. Have us have some fucking freedom.
So with that, me and Tony are planning on getting back on schedule so we can at least do this once a week, and you guys can listen once a week. We're just going to figure out our scheduling, but now that we have sat down and talked, we are planning on making this more fluently so you guys can listen, because we did hear some of you guys reach out, and we do appreciate it. You guys were asking
Hell
when
yeah.
the next podcast is every day, and so
We love
hearing that. It was
Yes.
great to know that like you guys were actually invested and actually cared about what we had to say, and so we want to do that more, especially for you guys and for ourselves.
especially for myself. I
Yeah.
love compliments.
So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely day, lovely evening whenever you're listening to this. Peace out and goodbye.
Adios.